Hi guys, this is Luetin, and today what I'm going to be doing is a rundown of my PS3 games, every single title that I've got in a disc format anyway. So we're just going to run through, and I'm going to be talking about the things that I like, the things that I don't like, just what I thought of the game, if I can even remember anything of it. So these are in no particular order. Let's start off with the first one. And it's Black Site. Now, I don't know how many people will have played this game. It was quite an early game on in the PS3. Think of it, it's kind of like Resistance, actually. It's quite a lot like Resistance. It's kind of alien invasion of Earth. As a shooter, it was pretty good. It had all your alien horror shooter things, and at the time, yeah, I think it was enjoyed. But yeah, one to play through, and then I haven't picked it up since. The next one we have is Final Fantasy 13. Now, as Final Fantasy goes, it's a title that I really enjoy. I've played pretty much most of them, apart from a couple of the very early ones. But as a series, I think it's just fantastic. It really has to be one of the highest and most well-renowned series in gaming, as I'm sure everyone would agree on that. Final Fantasy 13 though, amazing graphics, the story was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, not too much to really comment in terms of things, and I think perhaps that's the thing, is it was a very nice game, but perhaps not so memorable when you compare it to other ones. It had all the kind of hallmarks of a Final Fantasy game, but maybe nothing that was so specially memorable. You know, I couldn't really think of anything off the top of my head that I would put down as something that's going to be remembered for years to come as a special event, compared to other things like in Final Fantasy VII or even in Final Fantasy X and 8 and 9. There was all sorts of different characters, elements and events, and I didn't really have that with this one. But that's not to say that it wasn't, you know, a fantastic game. And you know, I think if you pick this up, if you've not had a huge experience with RPGs before, then maybe this would be a nice one to kind of slowly get into. I mean, as stories go as well, it was quite involved, but nothing just that stands out for me there. Okay, we got Resistance 2 now. Now, Resistance 2 was a really fantastic game, and this cover as well. I love that. I love the split side of the cover there, showing the two sides of war. It was a great, you know, a great movement on. The Resistance story as well is, as I said, it's quite similar to that Black Site game, but Resistance itself, it really is quite a well-written, well-thought-out game, and that's something that really counts for a lot, I think, when you're playing a game. Resistance 2 was great fun to play through, but more than that, its multiplayer function was fantastic. 60 players you could fight online with, and I think anyone who's played Resistance 2 online will know it was chaos, just massive fights all around. You know, it's proper FPS action. But yeah, the story and the design of the whole game for me gets a massive thumbs up. Okay, now we seem to have Call of Duty World at War. Now, back then I was playing Call of Duty. I played COD 4, I played World at War, Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops. And World at War, I was not a major fan of World at War for many reasons. I know a lot of people loved it, but for me, I really didn't like the feel of the game coming from COD 4. A lot of the weapons felt very kind of, I always said it, they had no weight. I just felt like, I don't know, that you couldn't, they just felt very thin, like they were made of cardboard. I just didn't like the design of the dynamics in the game. A lot of the maps I found were way too big. You could just kind of run around, and there was just way too many ways to move. And for me, a good COD map, you know, it should have limited routes so that you can really control and sort of, you know, pull and tug against each other in terms of fighting on a map. Some of the thinner maps on World at War did that. Like I think it was Cliffside, things like that. Those ones worked really well because you could control points and fight for them. So it was a really good all-out fight. But the larger maps I found, you know, when you're only 6 people aside, it really can, you know, be just too large a game. So for me, it wasn't one of the best titles, but it did bring some fantastic things, like, of course, attack dogs, which everyone remembers being absolutely terrifying when you start to hear that barking. Okay, next one we have is Dead Space. What can I say about Dead Space? It's unbelievable. It's one of the best survival horror games that you could probably ever play. It kind of redefined survival horror for me, because it brought in such, you know, fantastic design, amazing environments, and it's just everything you could possibly want from a survival horror. And you know what they say, that the first things, you know, the first games, the originals, are the best. I would say definitely that Dead Space, you know, the original is still the best. I think it's such a fantastic story in itself, and to come in from a original point, to come in fresh into a game storyline, you know, that's a lot to count for. There was loads of great stuff in this game. The UI was fantastic, all of those kind of things that they had, the tool system, the upgrade system, there was, and you know, the design of the aliens and the whole concept itself. So yeah, massive score for me on Dead Space. Killzone 2. Killzone 2, what a special game Killzone 2 is. It really, I'm not just going to praise every game, by the way. There are some games that I don't like, but you know, Killzone 2, it was a really, really good game. It took on so much, and the graphic upgrade that Killzone 2 gave in terms of, you know, online FPS was absolutely amazing, especially when we've been used to, for example, COD graphics for so long. Killzone 2 really blew it out of the water in terms of graphics, and Battlefield as well at the time. It was really, really good. There was many things that it brought, like the whole you know, proximity communication thing, which was really fantastic, where you could hear your enemies when you were close by to them. That was a really fantastic feature. A lot of the weapons, perks, and the whole overall map, it felt very dirty, gritty. It was dark and quite a visceral game. So for me, yeah, Killzone 2 is, and for many other reasons as well, the people that I met and the time which I played it in, this was a fantastic game. COD 4. What can we say about COD 4? Well, you know, compared to all the other Call of Duties I see on the shelf, COD 4 still outsells them in price, and I think that says as much than anything else. COD 4 was the first pretty much online FPS shooter that I played on the PS3. I played it for a year solo before I even joined a clan, and you know, it really was kind of defining. I think many people that have played the CODs since, I still don't believe they stack up as well with COD 4. And the reason for that is COD 4's simplicity. It's so simple to play COD 4 in terms of its, you know, its weapon selection, its class selection. That is what makes a good COD game. And as I think I said the other day, I think that, you know, they really need to try and get back to this. I think that COD really should stop trying to overcomplicate things. They should get back to basics. They should really say, we're going to make an arcade shooter, we're going to make it simple, fast, fun, and we're going to let people just get in and get on with it. And for me, that's what COD 4 is all about. And that's what made it such an amazingly fantastic game that you could just pick up and play day after day after day after day and never get bored of it. Okay, so from such an amazing title, we go to a slightly more obscure title, Call of Juarez Bound in Blood. This was a Western game, obviously, but you know, as with a couple of these things at the time, before Red Dead Redemption, there was a few games that tried to do the sort of more open world Western style, and this kind of tried to go there. It definitely had everything. Like, it wasn't, you know, it put you in the setting and it put you in the mood, and there was many aspects of it that I enjoyed, but it was kind of, it wanted to be what Red Dead Redemption was going to be, but it didn't quite get there. So it was a bit of a strange game, and you know, I liked it overall. It was not a bad game, but you know, Red Dead Redemption is what a Western game should be, and this was not that, basically. Okay, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon 2 Advanced Warfighter. Now, I played this a long time ago. This was pretty much, I think, one of the first games that I got on my PS3. In fact, it may have come with my PS3 as a sort of bundle when I got it. I played this game through. I played a bit online, but something that I really disliked about this game was its linearness. It was a very linear game. There were sections where you had like on-rail vehicles and things, as I remember, but you know, this was 5 years ago. I really can't even remember. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of third-person games anyway. I don't mind them because obviously I play, you know, various third-person games, but they're not my favourite. And you know, in terms of shooters anyway, I mean, there's other titles which are third-person, but for this one, yeah, I don't mind them, but they have to be pretty special. And this game was okay for me. The more I got into it, the more I liked it, I think. I wasn't very comfortable with it to begin with, but I pushed through. And as I got further and further into the game, I liked it more and more. The team communication thing, where you organise your team, wasn't the best, but yeah, overall it was an acceptable sort of game. And you know, but stacking up against games now, it's really, you know, it's dated. Need for Speed Pro Street. I got this game thinking that it was going to be like Need for Speed Underground. How incredibly wrong I was. This game sucked. It was totally not what I wanted. It was nothing like what I expected it to be, and for that reason I played it very little. I think I must have played, you know, 4 or 5 hours, and I kind of got the feel for what it was. I just hated it. Never played it again after that. So pretty much I should have sold it, but I never did. Devil May Cry 4. I'm not a big fan of the Devil May Cry series. It's kind of weirdly arcadey, and that to me kind of doesn't sort of sit with the environment, combined with the kind of bizarre sort of Japanese anime character storyline thing, which is, you know, the acting always feels a little bit, well, I say acting, you know what I mean, but, you know, the game characters, their personas and stuff always feel a little bit overdone. It feels a bit cheesy. The girls with their kind of barely visible costumes compared to the guys with their weird, you know, organic armor and it's just like, it's super fantasy, and it's something that really doesn't appeal to me. And plus there's the whole kind of slightly, I don't know, yeah, it's just it's not something that's particularly strong for me. Capcom makes some pretty weird games from now and then, and this is definitely in that category for me. Okay, Assassin's Creed. This is a classic game, as everyone knows, pretty much PlayStation defining at the time, I would say. It gave a lot of new things that we hadn't really seen before, and there was a lot of dynamics that were very, very special that were brought in with this game. The only main issue that I would have with the game was that it was quite repetitive. A lot of the things were quite repetitive, and this went on with other titles as well. Even I haven't owned those, but I have played them, and yeah, so for me, really fantastic game, really brilliantly executed, but just its repetitiveness was the only downside with this one. Army of Two, that's my next game. Army of Two, what can I say about Army of Two? Well, I actually kind of liked it. A lot of people sort of, I think, didn't really like it, but I kind of did. I liked the dynamic, and I liked the way it played out. There was a few little things, and from what I said before about third-person shooters, but in this one, I actually kind of liked the way the whole thing worked, and I liked the way you progressed. It was a linear game as well, but, you know, sometimes that's not a bad thing. It totally depends on how the game is executed and how the story runs down. So for me, yeah, I was, you know, I wouldn't probably play it now, but when I got it, I enjoyed playing it through. Okay, Street Fighter 4. I got Street Fighter 4 thinking that it was going to sort of reignite my love of fighting games, because I remember having a lot of good times playing with fighting games. But if anything, it didn't do that. It kind of did the opposite. It killed and reminded me of why I don't play fighting games anymore. And that's simply for the fact that, for me, fighting games are about having a good friend in the room with you, or, you know, if you were out at an arcade or something like that, and they're right next to you, and it's like they are your opponent, and you're fighting against them, and it's a good laugh, and you can, you shout at each other, and, you know, have, you know, comments about what you've done, and da-da-da. And when you play games, fighting games online, or by yourself, all of that sort of passion and energy just disappears. There's none of it. So for me, it pretty much reminded me of why I don't play fighting games right now. So until I'm in a situation where that's going to change, I probably won't be picking up any new ones. What a strange game for me to own. If anyone that doesn't know, I'm really not a massive follower of sport. Football being the epitome of that. I'm not the kind of person that really enjoys it for many, many reasons. I picked up FIFA 10 in the midst of the World Cup, thinking like, yeah, you know, some games, sport games can be fun if you play against people, and I thought that maybe I'd play some games against people in my clan and it'd be a bit of a laugh, because I played football games before, and I've enjoyed it because, you know, it's the kind of multiplayer against another person thing. That's the thing that's kind of fun about them. It's not so much the actual game itself, it's more the playing against another person, and it can be kind of fun to sort of outplay them. I just never played it. I don't think I ever really played this game at all, so that's another one that sits in my pile of games that I don't play, collecting a lot of dust. Battlefield 3. Do I really need to say anything about Battlefield 3? Pretty much FPS defining for me. It's taken you know, FPS gaming to a whole new level, and continues to do so. It continues to challenge all other titles. It's pretty much got to be the #1 in its genre right now. It pretty much does what it says on the tin. It's just the best. It's the best around. We all know it is. You don't need to say any more than that. SSX. This is great. You know, I haven't had a huge amount of time to play this because I picked this game up pretty recently, and I've been doing a lot of Battlefield, a lot of other things as well, and I really haven't had time to get to grips with this game. But SSX is a fantastic series. I played it through multiple you know, platforms before, and it really, really is a great fun title. Played Tricky and all those other ones before. It's really fun, and sometimes it can also be relaxing as well. Just the movement and the dynamic of snowboarding in a game is really, really fantastic. So yeah, for me, from what I've played of it so far, which was only a small amount, it's a really, really great title. So if you like that kind of thing, then pick it up and check it out. Dead Space 2. Now, my girlfriend has been trying to get me to play this one through yet. I'm kind of bad because with single player games I tend to stop and start. I'm really bad at sitting down and playing a title through, you know, singularly, which is why I still haven't completed Bioshock, even though it came out years and years ago. I've been playing this through. From what I like of it so far, I really do. It's a lot scarier than the original Dead Space. But I don't think there's anything that I would dislike about it, but I still think that the original one, Dead Space, for its originality, stands ahead of this. But so far, I really love it. It's a great game. The Mega Drive Ultimate Collection. If you don't have this, you seriously should get it. Just as it says on the tin, an epic collection of over 40 gaming classics. You can't go wrong. Sonic the Hedgehog, Streets of Rage, Echo the Dolphin, Shining Force, Golden Axe, and many more. Yeah, it's just a fantastic collection. The only thing I wish is that there were some other Mega Drive collections on disc. Slowly there's some classic games coming onto the PSN store, but I really, really hope they do more and more, because there are so many games like Galaxy Force, stuff like that. Great, Subterranea, that's another one. Road Rash, all these are, you know, really need to get some of these coming to the PSN store, because I'll buy them if no one else will. Okay, Resistance 3. This is another one that I bought recently because it was cheap. I think I picked it up for about £6 down. It was pre-owned down in the video game shop below where I work, and I haven't got a chance to play this one yet, but it's on my to-do list. I want to complete some other things first and then do this as a sort of playthrough, I think. I've also said that I want to do the Doom playthrough as well. Basically, I've got a lot of plans for games which I sort of put to one side and then never get a chance to do, but I have no doubt that this will be a fantastic game, judging by the rest in the series. Okay, Uncharted 2. Curious you might think that I have never played the original Uncharted. I never kind of really majorly got into this series. I know lots of people go, oh, it's so amazing, oh, Uncharted. Yeah, I know. But I never really got into it, mainly because it's a male Tomb Raider, and for that reason, I don't know, I thought that Tomb Raider had pretty much done everything there was to do in this series, and I don't quite get what all the fuss was about, other than it looking kind of shiny and nice. So when I saw this game downstairs, again, really cheaply, I just was like, yeah, I'll give it a whirl, and yeah, I've liked it so far, but it's pretty much what I thought already. It's a male Tomb Raider, and you know, all that entails. That's really all I got to say about it. I don't find anything particularly special about it. I mean, look at the rating on the box here, 10 out of 10, absolutely essential. I would question that, personally. I'm not sure that it's absolutely essential. I would say that if you've ever played a Tomb Raider, this may be a nice continuation, but it's certainly nothing that I would consider to be, you know, genre-breaking or anything like that. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas. I so badly wanted to love this game. I was so excited because Fallout, the original one, Fallout 3, it was just so good. And, you know, I really, really expected that this would have all of that and take it forward. It didn't. It was ultra restrictive, and for strangely a kind of sandbox open world game felt very, very linear. There was lots of other kind of weird dynamics and glitches and stuff in this game, and I don't know, it kind of took everything the original had and ruined it, which I think was a massive shame, because I think it had huge, huge potential. And I think also picking a desert environment of Las Vegas seemed a kind of weird choice, because you'd gone from such a fantastic metropolis, which really gave you so many options, and you know, there's loads of places they could have gone with the game, and this, for me, I think on the face of it, the premise seemed good, but it just didn't work for me, and for that reason I don't really like Fallout New Vegas. Okay, moving on, we've got Modern Warfare 2. Now, this was a welcome relief for me from World at War, because as I said earlier, I wasn't a big fan of World at War. What did Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 bring though? It brought back a lot of stuff that I loved from COD 4. It was fast, actiony, the guns and that kind of play side of things, the dynamic of it felt better, the maps were better, the kill streaks and everything that brought in was better. What were the things I didn't like about this game? Well, I didn't like the way you could just join other people. That ruined so much of this game, because you'd be playing games, you just have people forcing their way into games and stuff. Really hated that. And then of course, as everyone knows, the hacking and weird glitching started to come later in the game, and it really destroyed the game, and it just didn't get updated, didn't get fixed. That is one major issue that I still have with Infinity Ward as it was and Treyarch now. They don't have good communication with their community, and they don't fix issues. As much as people you know, slate the Battlefield EA DICE relationship and the way that they do, you know, you can't complain with how they deal with the community, because they interact, they communicate. You can message high up people and you'll get a response. They do patch the game, they do fix bugs. Okay, maybe they don't manage to fix everything, but you know, they have a lot to do, and at least they do try and take the time to actually fix these things. With, you know, Infinity Ward and stuff like that, I mean, there was major issues with COD 4, it was broken for ages. They just don't fix these things, and for me it was some of the things that really ruined the series for me, and it was a bit of a downward spiral. But when it was good, Modern Warfare 2 was very good, so I do still rate this game, but I think it had a few things that could have been done better. Okay, Fallout 3. This was a really special game. It really brought the whole kind of open world RPG. Loved this game so much. There was so much about this game that was absolutely fantastic. The fact that you could play it through in different ways. I remember playing it with my friend who I was living with at the time, and you know, it was really interesting for us that for a single player game it could be so different in so many ways. And the fact that you can take completely different choices that will alter the entire sort of structure of the game. Okay, it has one single storyline, but it's great that you can go off and do these other things which will affect the world around you and do them in so many different ways. And for me, that's something that made this game so special. It's going to be interesting to see where they go forward with it now, but for me at the time and so far, this is one of the best Fallout games. Okay, PGA Tour 10. You might be wondering why I haven't got a later version of this, simply because I don't see the point. And also I've heard bad things about later ones. Out of sport games, I like this the most. I like golf games. I like golf games because they're very relaxing. You can just quite happily putter around, and you know, nice environment. It's a nice chill out game to play. And yeah, it's a golf game. What more can you say? But it's very nice, and I like this one a lot. Clive Barker's Jericho. Might be a slightly unknown title for some of you guys. This was recommended by my girlfriend, and I haven't played it through. As with Bioshock and other things, I'm quite bad at finishing single player games, mainly because I'm trying to do other stuff and I don't find the time to kind of sit down with them. But from what I've played with this game so far, yes, okay, it's not up there with the, you know, sort of major strongholds of FPS gaming, but it's got a lot of interesting things. Some bits are quite hard, and the storyline is quite interesting. If you can find it, and if you want a slightly curious, different game to be playing, check this one out, because if you haven't ever come across it, it might be one to sort of, you know, roll the dice with, and you might like it. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Okay, Skyrim's an awesome game. Let's not be in any doubt about it. The environment, the quests, everything, the whole sphere that is Skyrim is absolutely fantastic. But my only gripe with it is that some of the games can leave you feeling a little bit lost, and you know, I had loads of experiences where I'd have a quest, I think, oh my god, I've got like 10 things I've got to do, what can I do now? You end up wandering off, you're trying to find something, the description of it is incredibly vague, you wander around for 40 minutes trying to find it, then when you do, it's way out of your league and you just get killed or something. For that reason I found it kind of frustrating. I haven't played it as much as I did originally, but be in no doubt that it's a beautiful game and completely immersive, and if you love that kind of immersive gaming, which I do, then this is right up there. It's one to just turn off the lights, put your headphones on, turn it right up, and just lose all contact with the real world. Okay, next up we have Red Dead Redemption. This is an epic game. It's everything that you would want from a Western game. It's absolutely brilliant. The stories are fantastic, the side quests are fantastic. It even had a really bizarre and brilliant expansion with the zombie apocalypse sort of expansion which came with it, which was a weird route to take, but it worked actually really well within this game. The whole thing with this was the world that it's set in. That's what really makes the game. The fact that you can look into the distance and everything that you can see into the distance is somewhere that you can get to. That's what makes this game so special. You can see a town like 10 miles away. If you keep riding, you will get to that town. That's what makes it's so believable. That's what, as with Skyrim, makes it so immersive, and that's what these kind of open world RPG games you really get from them, is the fact that you feel like if you keep going, you're going to get to that point that you can see there's not going to be some barrier. It's not just a drawn background. That's what makes it so special, and what's, you know, makes you feel like the whole situation you're in is more real, and therefore the experience you get out of it is much more enjoyable. Okay, next up we have Bioshock. I really must take the time to finish this game because it's so good, and I don't know why I haven't. It's a weird thing. It's become almost a joke now that I haven't completed this game. I think my girlfriend probably doesn't find it a joke. In fact, she finds it very, very annoying that I haven't finished this game. But yeah, Bioshock is a brilliant game, being no doubt. Even though I haven't completed it, I can say that. Its design, style, story, everything about it I love. It's got that really wonderful, rusty, decaying, organic feel to it. The whole, the era and the elements it brings in there is fantastic as well. The characters, everything about it I love. So for me, yeah, this game is a lot of fun. If you've never played it, you must go and get it, seriously. I bet it'd be cheap as anything. You could pick this up now. And even now, the original game, even though it came out years ago, is brilliant. If it came out now, it would probably still win awards. So pick this game up. Okay, next up, by the look of it, we've got GTA IV. Grand Theft Auto is a brilliant series. Some people don't like it, some people do. I think it's fantastic. A lot of people complain about the sort of violence and the blah blah blah. I say people, usually not gamers. I don't know what it is about GTA that get so under their skin about it. It's a weird one. I think I'll talk about that because everyone knows what kind of game GTA is. But, you know, GTA 4, as always, the stories are fantastic, the gameplay's fantastic, the world it's set in is good. I don't really have anything bad to say about it, to be honest. So I will just say, it's kind of weird, I always find, that people take GTA. Whenever a new GTA game comes out, you know it's going to get in the news. You know there's going to be someone on their high horse going, oh, this game is so terrible, and kids, and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just a crime story. You know, it's no worse than every movie you see every other day on some channel on your TV, or some TV series on your show. I mean, I just find it weird. I find it weird that shows like The Wire or stuff like that, which can get critical acclaim and say it's the best thing that's ever been made, which it is because it's an amazing, amazing series. You get something like GTA, which has equally, you know, lots of, I mean, the story is nowhere near as good, but within its genre setting, okay, it does everything that does, and to be honest, The Wire does a hell of a lot worse, and yet for some reason, because GTA is a game, therefore it becomes this thing of like, oh my god, it's the worst. So yeah, I don't really get it, and it's a fantastic game. Battlefield Bad Company 2. This is a great game, and it still is a great game. I played this so much. It brought so many new things. The destruction levels were fantastic. They brought back new maps. They brought back old maps from Bad Company and other things like this. It really was a brilliantly executed game, and I don't have a lot of bad things to say about the game. Yeah, I actually can't think of anything bad to say about the game. But we played this game so much. The Black Hawk combat, you know, the destruction of buildings that you could blow up. I know, for example, one thing that people hated was the fact that you could destroy MCOMs by blowing up the building. I never had an issue with that. I really don't. I don't know why other people did. I think a lot of people had issue with that because they felt like it was cheating somehow. I just took it, you know, that it was written into each map, so I knew which ones were destructible, therefore I knew which to prioritise. I just took it as part of the game dynamic and learned to adapt with it, so for me it was that. But yeah, so many memorable maps, so many memorable experiences. I'm definitely going to dig up some Bad Company 2 gameplay for you guys to show some good classic rounds. Okay, Gran Turismo 5. Gran Turismo 5, very, very good, but God, wasn't it a long time coming? Seriously, for a game that was meant to be a flagship for the PlayStation, this game was just, where was it? You know, this game was meant to come out years ago, and it took such a long time, and when it came, it was pretty much as you expected. It didn't kind of blow away. I mean, it was okay, but the thing that frustrates me always with Gran Turismo games is they make out like it's this kind of, you know, super technical thing, and you can tweak all your cars and blah blah blah. Basically, as everyone knows, you pick a car, stick racing tyres on it, boom, it's instantly like 1,000 times better, and you beat all the cars in front of it. You go up to the next level, do the same thing. So, you know, it kind of frustratingly never felt like it had made that much of a progression in terms of, you know, what it set out to do. The other thing that I really wish it would do, there's always the kind of stop-start map racing thing, and that is really fantastic. I always kind of wish that GT5, I wish that they would do some kind of open world thing where you visit different garages, you actually physically go to them, kind of in like, I guess, PlayStation Home style. You kind of, not that I ever use that, I have to say, but I know what it is, and the idea that you kind of would go to a place, look at the cars, choose your parts, make it more interactive rather than just icons on a screen, but I guess that has a lot of downsides in terms of taking time to upgrade things and so on and so on. I don't know, Gran Turismo is an amazing series, okay, it's been with PlayStation for a long time, it does so much right, but for me, I don't know, I just feel like it kind of isn't quite there, and I don't know what I want to be different about it, but I feel like it needs something, and for me it's not. I don't know what it is, but it's not there yet. Okay, Battlefield Bad Company. Now this one, okay, it's interesting because you have to put it in context, and at the time this was a really good series. It wasn't Battlefield 2, but it wasn't meant to be. It was something different. It was a completely different brief. It was meant to be very different, and it was very different. It had a bit of a comedy factor, which for me didn't always work, but as an initial start to this series, it was just some good fun, and it brought a lot of things that were really great about Battlefield and brought it really into a console setting, which was fantastic. It's the whole start of the other Bad Company, Battlefield Bad Company 2. They haven't said that they're going to make a third one, but I really think that they should, and I hope that they might bring it back for the next gen consoles, because I think that would be a lot of fun and a really great thing to do. Okay, Dead Rising 2. I never played Dead Rising the first one, mainly because it wasn't on PlayStation. I think it was Xbox only. Dead Rising 2. It was kind of a strange one. They gave you this really weird quest where you have to mission, where you have to constantly be finding Zombrex for your daughter to stop her dying or becoming a zombie or whatever. That kind of ruins the fun, because it immediately puts you under pressure to complete everything within a certain time. You can't spend time exploring so much, you can't spend time doing the things that you want to do, you feel locked down, you feel claustrophobic, and I hate that in games. I really can't emphasize how much I hate being on a time limit. I don't mind doing like one little thing where they're like, you've only got a minute to get out. Yeah, that's fine, okay, but I hate it when like an entire section of a game is within a time limit and you're pinned down to getting stuff done. I hate that. It really ruins an experience for me, and this whole game is like that. So I've expected so much, and it is still kind of funny, it is still a laugh, but that element just ruined it for me. Okay, Colin McRae, Dirt 2. This is a fun game. As these kind of things go, I always enjoyed rally games. They're kind of fun and tight, and I remember some of the very early ones where you really were sort of locked into these very narrow rallies, going through all the courses, going over the dirts, the mounds, adjusting, preempting corners and stuff like that. This had everything to that and a lot more. It just was a really, really great, fun arcade racing game, really dirty. The music was fantastic in it, so it just did pretty much everything right for me. It ticked a lot of boxes, and you can pick this game up for next to nothing now, and it's still a lot of fun. I know that Dirt 3 is out as well, and I definitely want to pick that up, but just kind of never got back round to that. Okay, so next one up is Resident Evil 5. I actually really loved Resident Evil 5. I've played all the others, and this one was kind of good. It was kind of funny for me. The characters and the whole thing was kind of hilarious, and like Sheva, she just sucks so much that it's kind of really, really comedy. The great thing about Resident Evil 5 was the whole co-op aspect of it. That's what really makes the game. And playing it through, and I tend to suck at survival horrors. I'm not really good at them, which makes it even more funny. And the whole quick time aspect, which I'm also really bad at doing quick time events. Yeah, the whole co-op thing really was what made this game so much fun. And I played the whole thing through a couple of times with my girlfriend, and we really had a lot of fun doing so. I say fun, I think I had more fun. I think she got very frustrated having to constantly babysit me and saying, Dave, why haven't you got over here, blah blah blah. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So this is, yeah, it's a fun game. It's silly in places, but the whole aspect, the whole way it was carried out, I thought was very good, and I liked it as a Resident Evil game. Okay, Call of Duty Black Ops. I'm so on the fence with this. I like Call of Duty Black Ops. I loved it as a game. I actually prestiged several times with it, which is unusual for me because I normally consider that to be a pointless, irrelevant thing to do. But that just shows how much I was loving the game at the time, that I wanted to prestige and I wanted to just keep playing, getting through, getting all the stuff. And, yeah, I loved it. I really loved this game. But, as is always the case, damn you, Treyarch, screwed it over for me. I don't know if many people remember, but there was a period when Black Ops had been out for a while after release where it suddenly became unplayable. You would get constantly kicked, you couldn't make squads, the servers became unbearably unstable, you get kicked out of games, constantly trying to find new hosts. It just became effectively unplayable. You couldn't get into a game with any friends. It was just appalling, and so many people were complaining about it that it actually was crashing the Treyarch forums. It was crashing them on a daily basis because so many people were bombing them with complaints. They just did not deal with it. They didn't respond. They gave no communication to the community. They would not acknowledge it. And then suddenly it became this kind of trolling thing where everyone was going, it's fine for us. And it was like people just fighting. And then once it got to that stage, the developers definitely weren't going to get involved because it just looked like people were having petty fights. And it was at that stage in the game for me where I just said, that's it, I've had enough. I don't want anything more. They're not fixing this. People aren't being properly involved in trying to help it get fixed. And I just said, I've had enough. And that's when I went to Bad Company 2 full time, and I haven't played a COD game since. I'm kind of interested with the new COD. I feel like they've tried to make a genuine effort to improve the game and change things around a little bit, so I might be willing to give it another roll on that one. But on this one, for me, I think they maybe did address the issues later on, but it was too little too late, and I really feel that they dropped the ball major on this one. Killzone 3. Killzone 3 is a fantastic game, seriously. It brought so much that was really, really great. It really built on the game that there was before. My only downside with Killzone 3, some of the maps were a little bit big. They were so big, in fact, that it could make it very, very difficult to reach your objective, and you constantly would be having to kind of, really spend a lot of your time running around the map trying to catch up with people, or you get lost and you're trying to find spawn points, then you get killed, you have to go back, blah, 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 and it would take a long, long time. But particularly the kind of MCOM rushing maps with the, the cutscenes in between, those were, I think they're called Spec Ops or something, those were absolutely brilliant, really, really good. So for me, yeah, I would rate this title very highly, and it kind of stands up there as one of these sequels where it doesn't happen very often that a sequel just kind of builds strongly on what was already there, and I think Killzone 3 really, really did that, especially in the single player as well. Single player for Killzone 3 was fantastic. So yeah, really enjoyed this game a lot. LA Noir. LA Noir is another one where I'm kind of on the fence. This single player campaign is really, really fantastic, outstanding as they go. The kind of free world roaming aspect was bizarrely blank. You were just literally wandering around. It was like being in a cardboard cutout city. Very, very little to do. Not a lot of interaction with the world around you. It kind of really spoiled it. But the single player, it pretty much is a single player game, so I think you should try and think of it in those terms. But it was weird that they created this kind of very large Grand Theft Auto style world, but without the kind of level of interaction that you would really need to make that successful. So I think that, this was a fantastic game, but Rockstar maybe could have done it slightly differently, or maybe, they didn't have to create such a large world. They did it very, very well, great recreation, but I feel like they did so much and then there was very little to do with the world that was created. Okay, next up we've got Metal Gear Solid 4. Now, Metal Gear Solid is a really defining, amazing series. It's one that I particularly like because I really like those kind of technical, slightly dark and kind of secretive special operations stories. There was a lot of technical details that went into the whole character, the design, the environment, and the the kit, the guns and the equipment that you would use in this game. So Metal Gear Solid was really, really fantastic. Metal Gear Solid 4 though was something quite special because it was the first game I've ever played where it actually felt like you were playing a film. You felt like you were in a cinematic sequence constantly. I really think it's something I would like to revisit to remind myself of, but for me it was quite a special game. Tomb Raider Underworld. This was a really interesting one. I haven't completed this. I kind of got halfway through and then sort of stopped, but I can't remember why, but I think I just didn't get around to it. But it's a really, really good game, this one. Tomb Raider games as they go, yeah, they've always been kind of really good, in terms of setting their stage and so on and so on. But this one particularly, yeah, really stood out that the environments were so lush, really, really great, fantastic. Yeah, I think I want to get back into that. I want to pick this up this week and have a little go with it. So yeah, not much to say on it really, but just a well-executed version of this title. I loved it, and I think I remember all the marketing that went with that, and I really enjoyed that as well. Okay, Bioshock 2. You might not be able to see this, but it's still in its packaging. Why is that? Because I still haven't completed Bioshock, the original one, but this was such a good offer when it was downstairs that I wanted to pick it up at the time. Yeah, it's sitting there. I haven't played it, so I can't talk about it. Okay, Operation Flashpoint, Dragon Rising. Yeah, I'm not sure where to go with this one. It had a lot of ambition, basically, Operation Flashpoint, but it delivered very little. The single player was very good, very, very realistic. I suppose realistic, how would I know? You know, it had that kind of realism aspect to it. But the online is where it could have really, really flourished. It just flatlined. It was bad. Servers were bad. Just the whole kind of dynamic of it didn't work. Me and the people that I play with had a lot of ambition for this. It just flatlined. Really didn't turn out well. So that's all I've got. Real shame as well, because the design of this game, the graphic design and the environment design and the, you know, the whole game dynamic, I thought was very, very well done. But it was the server and the kind of multiplayer features and all that kind of stuff just really didn't happen. Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain is brilliant. Really, really good. Not so much for its actual game itself, but for having the courage and the strength to actually stand out and say, we're going to make a more adult, intelligent game, which is, you know, trying to do something a little bit different. And it really did. And I'm very, very excited about their next project, which is coming up really, really soon. Yes, it's just a really, really great game. The characters, yeah, some of the characters could be annoying and stupid, and that can happen with games and stuff. But, or especially when you try to take too serious, you know, a story and put it into a game environment, it can kind of turn out not so well. But for me, really enjoyed this game a lot. It did a lot of things, the whole characters, the fact that the storyline could change and so on and so on. Loads of stuff in this that was really revolutionary, I think. And yeah, stands well on my books, this one. NHL 10. You might be surprised to see NHL 10 in my collection here. I kind of like this. I remember we used to have like a hockey game on the Mega Drive, and for that reason I picked this up, and it didn't disappoint. It's fun, fast action, it's brutal, you're just slapping it around. I have played with a couple of guys from the US that I know on this game, and it's a lot of fun. I'd like to do that again if anyone's got NHL 10, want to play a few rounds for me and probably paste me all over the place. Yeah, I'd like to hit it up, so yeah, probably break that one out soon and get a few games on this as well. Fear. Fear is... I originally played this, people might remember I've spoken about my friend Phil, who I used to play Battlefield 2 with, and I got into World of Warcraft because of him. Fear was a game that we used to play as well, and Fear was a really, really good game at the time. Really excellent. Scary as hell, and the whole slow motion aspect and all this kind of stuff, it was fantastic. So I picked it up for the PlayStation 3 excitedly, thinking I was going to get that same gameplay. It sucked. It really wasn't good in terms of the gamepad controls. It really was bad. However, I just recently thought that since I've got my mouse now, I might be able to actually get some kind of that gameplay back, and this game might become more playable. So I'm actually going to look to that and see if I can do that, because if I can capture some of what the original game had, I'll be very, very pleased. Okay, we came up to the last couple now. Unreal Tournament 3. Unreal Tournament has always been a really, really fun, brilliant game. I put it up there with Quake and stuff. It's so fast, so energized, and I don't know how active and working the servers still are. I expect they're fine. I wanted to get on very recently actually and have a few games, because I was saying that on those other Battlefield videos recently, I was saying that they had been going so poorly, I might as well play Unreal. So for that reason, I kind of feel inspired to get on and thrash a few rounds out. So yeah, might have some gameplay of this coming soon. Okay, Star Wars Force Unleashed. Yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun. The only thing that bothered me a little bit was that your character started out bad and then kind of became good, which irritated the hell out of me. I don't like it when they predispose what your character's going to do, because you have to kind of go along whether you like it or not. That's the only thing that kind of ruined it for me. I think you should have the choice to, you know, they should have had some choices in there where you could, you know, change the storyline of the game slightly. I know that's a little complicated, but for me that really would have made it a lot better. But in terms of all action, you know, Jedi fighting, it's all over the place. It's got everything you want. Okay, Tom Clancy's Hawx. The single player of this was pretty good as jet fighting games go. Completed the whole thing, thought it was a lot of fun. Again, multiplayer let it down a lot. A lot of games do this, let down on the multiplayer, poor servers, couldn't get enough people, gameplay wasn't that exciting. A lot of people I played with at the time when this came out had a lot of expectation. Didn't really happen. So fun single player. If you found it for £3 now, I'd pick it up. But yeah, it's been there and it's gone. Okay, and the last one on my list, LittleBigPlanet. This was a lot of fun, really is fun, but it's one of those games you've got to play with friends. The single player as well was good fun, but this game is all about the socialization and playing with other people. That's where this game really lies. And obviously the new ones, I haven't picked up the new ones because I've been too busy with other stuff, but I'm sure it has everything that the original did. And again, this was a very, very creative, very original game, and it really did some quite special things, so a lot of fun. Okay, so that's been my little rundown of my whole collection of games. If there's anything that you've particularly enjoyed and want to comment on, please do so. If you've got any questions or suggestions of titles that I don't have that you think I should absolutely pick up, then please make those as well. Hope you've enjoyed this one, guys, and see you for much more very soon.